Sorry, by the way, Archie was here 5 years ago as a student, so he's been in your position. All right, so
I understand your pain. Hi, my name is Archie. I graduated here 5 years ago, as Godfrey said. My main interest was, as a kid, I loved to draw, and I wanted to be able to translate my designs into fully functioning websites that were interactive, with some animation, sort of being able to change what I had in Photoshop, put it on a web page, to basically be able to integrate it with CMS, do my animation and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, I graduated 5 years ago here. Start off with a little summary of what we're going to talk about. There we go. About me, a quick introduction to who I am and who I'm working for at the moment, things like that. Then we're going to talk about how you start freelancing, because when I was here studying, I thought that when I'd leave uni with my diploma, everything was going to be golden and I was going to find a job really easily, but I ended up in a factory working for a few months, and that was pretty awful. So I think it's really important that you guys use the employment services of UAL who can get you placements and stuff. I don't know how well organised it is now. It wasn't that bad when I was at uni, but it's really worth your while. I mean, you can work on some really big projects, and you can use them in your portfolio so that when you leave university, you've got like a body of work that you can show people and facilitate your entrance through the door. This lecture is mainly about web design freelancing, but it can also be applied to gaming and 3D and anything else that you guys might be doing. So yeah, let's get started. Contact details. My website's archie1.butler.com. So I'll have a little bit of a quick whisk through my portfolio in there in a bit and show you what I've been up to. Also, I'll give you my email address again at the end as well, so if you've got any questions or anything you'd like to talk about, I will answer your queries. I was also thinking it might be good if you guys do have a portfolio of work, you can send it through to me and I can give you some feedback on your CV and stuff. And yeah, and also if you're interested in web design, or if you're a graphic designer, or you're an illustrator, or you do animation or anything like that, I've got some quite good contacts with recruitment companies now, and I get a little kickback as well of what you earn if I manage to get you through the door. So it might be quite good. It's really well paid as well, so it might be interesting if you look. So, as I said, when I was at school I didn't do much studying. I spent a lot of my time drawing, and got a lot of stick from it from my tutors. Managed to pass my A-levels by the skin of my teeth. Started playing around with Photoshop at 16. I was really into graphic novels, drawing them, and I used to use Photoshop to scan in my drawings, colour them with gradients, make them like a little bit more modern and funky. And then I got into uni here at 19. It's quite a funny story. I said to my dad, who lives in France, can you send me my 100 best drawings in the post? And they all got lost. So I turned up at my interview to St. Martin's with nothing. I just said, like, please let me in. And he did, which was pretty cool. I had like one drawing I did the night before. And yeah, I did a foundation course at St. Martin's, part-time for 2 years. I was working as a barman as well on the side. I wasn't really thinking about the future, how I was going to get into the creative market and stuff like that. Got through uni here. Didn't do very well on my dissertation at uni. Did it all about marketing, and I just passed by the skin of my teeth, which was a bit gutting because I put quite a lot of effort into it. And yeah, as I said earlier, my main interest was taking all my bespoke drawings and animation and being able to transform them into like a web page. I started off with Godfrey on Flash. We were like doing animation, and then I was sort of exporting that, and I was trying to put it on the internet so that you could see it, trying to build like an interactive portfolio and stuff like that. Unfortunately, as you probably will know now, Flash is becoming a little bit redundant with the iPhone and the iPad and that sort of stuff. but it's still widely used in big corporate organizations. There's these things called MediaMind, where you create your Flash banners, you upload it to MediaMind, and then it gets like sent out all around the world to put on different websites as advertising, those banners that you never click on. So something like 0.05% of Flash banners get clicked on, so I was told recently. So I came to uni here. After university, I went back to France for a couple of years, because my parents lived there, and I was fluent in English and in French, and I knew how to code, I knew how to do Flash animation, and I was going around the town of Bordeaux looking for jobs, recruiters, and they were like, no, we are not interested, it's nothing in France. Just because you have English and you do coding, we don't need you. So what I'm trying to say there is that the market is pretty hard to get into at the moment. So I came back to London. Well, actually I had a few little clients in France, like a couple of restaurants, where I built them some basic websites and stuff so that they could update their menus and things like that, but not very well paid.
Computers.
A couple of contracts, trying to build up a body of work, but it wasn't working too well. My main problem was I'm not a very good salesman, so I like going to see businesses and selling them websites for 100 quid that were taking me like 2 weeks to build. But it's not all that bad, because once you've got a few good things in your portfolio, you can then use that, as I said, as a body of work for the next guy. So I've done this already and I've done that. I think it's really important, even if your projects are not very well paid, to really put in the time and make something really creative and bespoke, so that you can use that and people can see that you've got some skills. I had a good friend in France called Duncan, who then started a web design company in Somerset, so he managed to get me a job where I was answering the phone, dealing with clients, building some websites, doing some illustration, doing logos, presenting the stuff via links online to show the client to get the design approval and stuff like that. And I have to say this, I'm sorry Godfrey, but in 1 year of full-time work, I learned more than in the whole 4 or 5 years I did at university. It's just completely eye-opening. Like, you work with developers, with salesmen, you can see like the whole process of how you can sell digital, which is really cool. And I arrived there and I was like, oh, I sold 2 websites for £200 each, all excited. He was selling websites for like 5 grand that his developers were knocking out in like a day or 2. It's really interesting. And yeah, I worked there for a year full time, but I was living in the middle of the countryside, didn't know anyone. So after a year, I got a little bit bored and I left, and I thought I'd come back to London and try something new. So I came back to London, I started freelancing again, and I got my new business cards ready, these ones to be specific, and I went to a print shop in Brick Lane, and I showed the guy in the print shop my cards. I said, he said, you're a web designer, I need a new website for the print shop, which is pretty cool. So I was writing a long contract. I did one first website called rippertshirts.co.uk, which is he was printing designs and funny sort of jokey images on t-shirts and trying to sell them online, and it was called Ripper T-shirts because it was in East London near where Jack the Ripper used to be, so it was all sort of blood and stuff like that. And it is built with WordPress. It wasn't a very well paid job, it was £700 for an e-com, which is pretty cheap nowadays. But I just bought a template off something called Theme Forest. If you guys have heard of Envato, E-N-V-A-T-O. It's really good for freelancing B2B at the moment. They sell codes that you can buy from, everything's really cheap, like you can buy logos, you can buy stock photography, you can buy website templates, you can buy specific codes for like integrating Facebook into your website, stuff like that. Really good bit of kit. So I used that, and now he's probably got about 200 t-shirts on there, and they don't use it very often, but they're pulling in about £150 a month, which is alright, but if they did dedicate someone to it as a full-time job to do the photography and everything, they could be getting a lot more. I think it's important. The rest of the world really likes to see what London's doing from a creative point of view, so cool designs coming from London and stuff like that, they get sold all over the world, which is quite cool. They get orders from America and Asia and stuff like that. He was happy with that, so then he gave me another contract with him, which was to do the website for the print shop, which is a lot more complicated PHP JavaScript stuff, where you have your brochures, your business cards, you choose your grams per inch, and then you choose what size you want, and then you choose how many you want, and it has to automatically calculate all these costs and stuff. And that is still an ongoing project, and I was a bit worried because I sold it for £2.5 grand, did a long contract with a time scale, but unfortunately I don't know PHP to the level to be able to build that, so that was a bit of a tricky one. So I actually found some guys in India who friended me on Facebook for no reason. So I was like, why are you friending me? Do you know any developers in India who can help me build this for cheap? And he said, yeah, actually I do. And I got in contact with this guy called Suraj. He's got like a little development team out there. And they've been working for me for a few months now, and they're building the whole thing for 500 quid. So I sold it for £2.5 grand, so I'm going to make a nice little profit on that soon. So that is really client to client. It's really tricky. I don't really like sales, having to write contracts and to be able to see someone go, okay, I'll do it, but it's going to cost you this. And it's a lot of work building a good website that's going to function. So that was all a bit tricky, basically. And then I moved in with this guy called Michael, who's who I met recently, and he is a graphic designer. He's a retoucher with photography. And he never went to uni. He started in a print shop at 17, and he works for all the big recruiters in London now. He's on between 250 and 350 quid a day just to mess around with Photoshop and make some images. He does stuff for Bacardi and lots of big brands like that. And he basically looked at my portfolio and said, you need to change this, it's all over the place, you're doing all these fonts and colours, you need to hone it down and make it very minimalist and straight to the point, so that when the recruiters see it, they just one click, they can see what you've done, they can see what your skills are, and hopefully employ you. And so I had all this body of work, and I was chasing these recruiters trying to get an interview, and I had appointments, and I was trying to get my first contract, and I spent like 6 months calling them up, hassling them, and then one morning I was like, right, today is the day I'm going to get a job. So I'll do you half price if you just get my foot in the door on the first contract. And he did. And I did a 4-week contract with a marketing branding agency called Williams Murray. And for them, they had a design team that created Illustrator files of the website that they wanted. I then went in for 4 weeks, I took them out of Illustrator, put them into Photoshop so that we weren't in vectors anymore, but we were working in pixels, cut everything up. They wanted to use this font called Helvetica New, which isn't your standard Helvetica. I was really shocked. It cost them £1 grand a year to rent the font just for their website. It's pretty mad. And so I cut it up, built the HTML and CSS, and integrated it with the WordPress CMS, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more later. How many of you have heard of WordPress? Yeah? Quite a lot. It's a really good system for your clients if you're going to be doing business-to-business sales. Just get your hosting with one.com, £15 a year. You can charge the client a lot more, say 200 quid a year for support. You've got 24-hour live chat with one.com. Put your database on there, you can grab your Photoshop files, do some YouTube tutorials on how to integrate a custom design into WordPress, which sounds really difficult because there's like PHP, but it's actually not that bad. And it's pretty cool. And then you've got also in the dashboard all the plugins that you can set it for more as well, because it's got CMS, so it's got a blog and pages, and the clients can edit it, and they can add their own pictures and what's called a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, which is like a text editor within a CMS. And so they can update all their own content and prices. And it's also got plugins, which are really cool. If you need like a Facebook widget, you don't have to code it yourself. You just type Facebook widget, install, pop it in, and it just appears. And you can do Twitter. There's some great things attached to that. There's like SEO plugins, which are really good and tell you how to write for SEO so that you can have your Google listings and things like that. Great bit of kit. Most web designers don't really talk about WordPress. They tend to keep it on the quiet because it's a really good bit of kit. You can white label it as well. There's some plugins so that it doesn't say WordPress anymore. You can like change the logos. You can say, it's a bit of a hustle, but you can say to your clients, this is my CMS, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. Make money at uni. Yeah, as I said, try and get involved with the UAL placements, even if it's unpaid work. You can always use this in your portfolio, which is a really good kickstart for when you finish uni. Get your business cards printed. That's really important if you're going to be freelancing, graphic design, or whatever it is. You need to talk about it, go to networking events, always have your cards ready. Great way to keep in touch. Also, obviously, adding people, it sounds geeky, on Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff like that is really useful. Before I got into recruitment agencies, I got sort of probably about 50% of my work from my Facebook contacts, and you need to make a really good LinkedIn page as well, because a lot of recruiters look at that. I met a kid recently at one of my placements who was 18, and he knew PHP and JavaScript, and he was just bombarded daily by recruiters trying to get him in so they could get their commission. He got offered 500 quid a day at 18, which is quite interesting. Obviously those are like really complicated codes like PHP and stuff. Most of you probably won't want to learn that, but a good middle ground is JavaScript. If you know some basic HTML and CSS, with JavaScript you can do a lot of fun stuff and bespoke work for people. Yeah, this is a really important point. You need to set yourself up as self-employed, or also there's limited company. You can do them both online. It's all a bit technical, complicated. I can't really go into too much detail about that. But clients will require this of you because otherwise they have to pay you on the black, and they don't really want to do that because if they pay you legally, they can claim it back against their taxes at the end of the year. So that's a pretty important thing to do. You can do it online. I know some websites that automatically process it. You just pay them 20 quid and they set it all up for you and send you your certificates in the post, which is really useful. About your taxes, bane of my existence. It takes 20 minutes to sign up online to declare yourself self-employed, but they will send you letters with threats for the rest of your life, as I like to say. So it's really important to have an Excel spreadsheet, work out how much you've spent buying software, buying pictures and stuff, and how much you've made so that you can prove it with your invoices and stuff like that. There's this app, Record Keeper, which is a really good bit of kit, where basically you have it on your phone, even stuff like that underground when you pay your Oyster card. You get a receipt, just take a picture of it and enter how much the cost was, and it calculates all your taxes for you automatically, and then you can download an Excel spreadsheet with all the photos attached, and you can just send that at the end of the year, which is a real time saver and saves you money as well. So that's a pretty cool bit of kit if you're interested. 2.1 million registered businesses in the UK in 2010, and everyone wants a website. This is true. It's really important. Anyone who has their own business, whether it be in fashion, retail, or whatever they do, they want to have an online presence, and often business owners are sort of a few generations above us, so they don't really know about what's going on online, how to get there, how to promote themselves. So that can be a really good angle to approach clients with. you've got your business cards, you've got a really good LinkedIn profile, you want to, when people type your name into Google, you want to come up on, at least on the first page, so that if someone is looking for you, like, oh, I remember that guy I met at that event, maybe you could help me out. Type your name, you want to have your website appearing at the top there. That's really important, so that they can access your work easily, get in touch. Add people you meet online. You guys have probably heard this, but I heard that when we die, or if you've got really good contacts online, like creative industries in London, you know, designers, that's actually worth money. I don't know if that's true, but in a few years' time you'll be able to sell it and make some money for your grandchildren to inherit, which I thought was quite interesting. Talk constantly about what you can offer, the services you do. If you're in digital media, you've got a wide array of skills. I don't know what you guys are being taught at the moment, but when I was here it was Flash, and I'm currently working on some Flash banners at the moment. So it does pay off in the end to study hard, definitely. Have you guys heard of Meetup? It's a website for going to events around London, meeting professionals, stuff like that. It's a good bit of kit. I went to one day before yesterday, set up a video there, gave out some business cards. I'm trying to steer away now from getting my own personal clients because I find them really demanding. They're always like calling you and emailing you like, can you change this picture, can you update this? And they just generally take up too much time, so I'm trying to like move away from my old 20 personal clients, trying to get rid of them. So these guys in India are actually helping me do the support work that they require, which is because I don't really have the time anymore, which is quite useful. Yeah, basically getting a portfolio together is really important for when you leave uni. You're going to need it. I'm going to show you mine at the end of the presentation, just to give you an idea. That is the way to get your foot in the door. And you guys are in a good position here as well because you've got all the different stuff you could possibly need. If you need an SLR camera, you can get one at the uni. If you need a video camera, you can get one. You can get the tripods for like doing panoramic photography. There's so many things that you can sell here. You can get your print done and everything like that, which is pretty cool. And yeah, the point before the last, don't work with people who look like they're going to be a nuisance. That is key as well. If you're going to meet someone and they're like, oh, I don't know, and they're going to start being tricky, just get rid of them. Literally, you will get bombarded. Well, I do anyway, because I do websites and people are always looking for websites for the business, as I explained. And if you're not going to have a good relationship with your client and it's all going to go a bit stale, just avoid them. So with that first impression, you can usually tell. Get a website portfolio online. As I said, one.com, they've got a 24-hour live chat, which is really useful if you're like, I can't get this to work. They'll actually advise you completely free of charge on what you're doing wrong, where the line of code is that you're missing, and you can just work all through the night basically, because they're there all the time. Really cheap, 15 quid a year. As I said, you can set it up for yourself, but you can also set it up for your clients and charge a lot more. When I was working for Mediatopia, they were charging 500 quid a year just for like a few hours of support per year, and if they wanted more support, they'd charge them extra. So that's a good way to make a bit of money to pay the rent. WordPress, 20% of the websites online today. Perfect CMS viewing your clients. As I said, you can white label it. Really easy to start playing around with it, installing plugins, editing stuff, changing the size of the logo. It's a good place to start. Also, if any of you are interested in coding, probably not, there's something called the W3C schools, which is like this consortium based in America who apparently like choose what's going to be allowed and what's going to not be allowed in the code. And they've actually got some really good tutorials on W3C schools, which is where I first, with Godfrey, had my Flash files and I wanted to put them online, so I had to learn a little bit of HTML, and then I sort of got quite into it, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Carbon Made. This is another portfolio website where if you can't be bothered with this whole WordPress thing, it's a bit too technical. It's one of those where you just sign up, upload your pictures, and it just creates a very minimalist sliders of your work, and then you can just send a link to recruiters and stuff like that. Got recommended to do it by the recruiters. Behance, this is a really cool bit of kit. Some of the best designers in the world are on Behance, and you can search by creative field if you're doing like video games, logos, vectors, illustration. It has all the different categories of the best designers, and you can filter it by like the most appreciated work, so you can see sort of the 10 best websites at the moment and draw some inspiration from those to build some really nice work for people. Used a lot. I got found through LinkedIn a few weeks ago. I did a Skype interview with these guys, and they wanted me to go in and work for them for 4 weeks. And they were like, "Oh, actually, we've got this client, and we don't have time to design something. Can you design something for these guys?" It was like a medical company that recruited doctors and sent them out as like freelance doctors to different hospitals around England. And I went on to Behance, and I just found like a really nice corporate slick looking website and sort of took a little bit of inspiration from that, bit of that, like a menu system here, grab that, put it into Photoshop, make a nice design, and yeah, and they really liked it, which was cool. So that's a really good bit of kit. Get your email addresses. Mine's Archie at archibaldbutler.com. It looks a lot more professional on your business cards and shows people that you're interested in what you're doing. PDF CV, that's really cool, and a portfolio PDF. If you've got hostingwith1.com, you can like access FTP through FileZilla. Sorry, I'm getting a bit technical here. And FileZilla is like how to access the files on your server, and you can just literally grab your CV and your portfolio, pop it in there, and it creates a link. So it'll be like johndoe.com/portfolio.pdf, and then you don't even have to like attach your portfolio into emails, and they don't have to like download it to their computer, find the downloads folder, double click it, open it. They just click on a link, opens it in a web browser, and it all appears. You want to make it as easy as possible for the recruiters to access your work and see what you're all about. Make sure you, as I said earlier, put your heart and soul into whatever it is you're going to do, because it's for your own benefit, because then you can then use it. Yeah, and the more clients you have, the better clients you have, the more you can charge for your work. There's either two ways of doing it. You can either work on a day rate, which is what I've started doing about 3 months ago, where you get sent to a company and you get paid X per day, and then you can go home and do whatever you want in the evenings, and you don't have to bother stressing out about emails or anything like that. So I've been trying to like get rid of all my personal clients, which I thought was a really good idea because I'm into traveling and surfing, so I wanted to like build up clients and then get out of England and just do some work for them on the side. But it's kind of tricky because often it's small companies and they don't really want to pay much money, and they can be pretty hectic. But the recruitment agencies is definitely the way to go. I had worked about 7 months as a freelancer, business to business, and then I got really bored of that and I wanted to get in with the recruiters, so I was redoing my CV, redoing my portfolio. I had like 2 or 3 months where I was hardly making any money and trying to get some interviews. That was really hard, but finally managed to get my foot in the door, and now I'm trying to get rid of them all basically, which is because it pays a lot better. Okay, this is quite interesting. If you are going to go the B2B route, given your business card, you've met someone who's interested in your skill set, they need a new logo design for their new t-shirt, e-commerce shop, whatever it is. As my boss at Mediatopia used to say, getting the appointment is the whole battle. Once you've got an appointment, when you show up and you show them what you've done and you explain to them what you can do for them, it's almost pretty much 99% sure it's going to be in the bag and it's going to give you the contract. So get that initial appointment with the boss of the company. It's a really good way to start. And creating an aim with your client. Often the client won't really know what they want. They're like, oh, I just want a website about my business selling sneakers, and they don't really know what else to add to that. So you need to talk to them about social media engagement, organizing competitions, giving away freebies, how to write on their blogs so that they climb the ranks on Google because their website's constantly updated, how to write good SEO, search engine optimization for Google. Things like that are really useful to them, and they'll praise you for it. And you need to write yourself a PDF contract in InDesign, make it very complete. The exact terms of everything have to be very specific, otherwise you can end up doing a lot of work for free, which is not what you want to be doing. You want to have timescales in there. What else do you want to have? Hosting charges, initial cost, initial payment, halfway through project payment, final payment. Those are really important. You need to make it really structured so that they just have to have a quick read through it, and they know exactly what you're going to provide, how long it's going to take, when it's going to be completed, what it's going to do for their business. Get your contract signed with all the clauses inside it, get your initial deposit. You probably also have to set up a business bank account to separate your current account and your business income so that you can differentiate and prepare your taxes quite easily at the end of the year. Otherwise it becomes a real muddle. Or even just a savings account, just separate the two basically. Do the initial design. I used to do, when I worked for Mediatopia, I used to do a lot of templating stuff, so we just buy a template, drop in their existing logo, grab their content of the client, copy and paste it in, and that was that, which is a little bit of a factory, and I didn't really like it. I like to do more bespoke work and really put a bit of soul into it. Then you can, using your one.com hosting, you can have like johndoe.com/projects, that's what I've got. And inside your projects, you can create sort of mini sites for your clients where you can prepare the link, demo 1, demo 2, logo variation 2, logo variation 3, show it to them, get their feedback. It's a really nice way to present your work. Get it signed off. Talk to the client, find out if they're happy with everything, if they like the logo, the variations they want to see, and get it signed off. Print it out and write up the date, the name of your company. Hi, I hereby approve the designs made by Archie1, and I understand that any extra changes will now cost extra, and get it signed. And that's pretty much is the most important step, because if you don't do that, they'll always haggle and come back and go, actually, can we just try this? Can we just do this? Can we just change this? And it turns into an absolute nightmare. So the design sign-off is the most important part of the whole thing. I also have little folders at home for each of my clients, in different colours, trying to keep myself a little bit organised. And I have their contracts in there, their design sign-offs, stuff like that. It's really useful. All the content and the pictures they've given me, I keep it all on a CD in there, so that if I get burgled and everything gets nicked, I still have all their passwords and stuff like that on record, which is really useful. And yeah, make sure you structure your work and have a proper process laid out. As I've written here, the client will respect you for it, and they're going, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, he's really planned this out, blah, blah, blah. It's a really good way to work, basically. And I used to hate picking up the phone before. I used to never go near it. But then at Mediatopia, I had to pick up the phone every time it rang. And the boss was like, 3 rings, Archie. You have to pick up the phone every time before 3 rings. So I sort of built my confidence up with the phone. And now I don't have a problem with it. I can just pick up my phone and call up all my clients, say, are you happy with everything? Do you need some more work done? How are you finding it? It's really good to stay in touch with people. They'll come back, they'll keep in touch with you, they'll see that you're interested, and you're not just trying to rip them off, basically.